Excellence, integrity, inspiration. These are just some of the characteristics that describe a person who truly exemplifies a value to our community, to our society. These also are some of the distinctive virtues of a living treasure of Hawaii. The living treasures of Hawaii are individuals who have demonstrated excellence and high standards of achievement in their particular field, and through their continuous growth, learning, and sharing, have made significant contributions toward enriching our island home. The key here, they continue to share their skills, talents, and passion through their light and life. In lieu of the annual tradition of a large celebration recognizing our honorees, the members of the Living Treasures Hawaii Committee decided to take this time to reflect on the mission, goals, and values of the program and share with you just what makes this honor so special. Over the next hour, you'll hear from 5 former honorees who share their wisdom about life. And you'll learn more about these community luminaries who continue to selflessly serve others without expecting accolades, which is a trademark of a living treasure. The Living Treasures of Hawaii program drew its inspiration from Japan's Living National Treasures honor. The idea for the program came from Paul Yamanaka, a local insurance executive who felt there were many people in Hawaii who deserved to be recognized for their contributions to the preservation and perpetuation of the island's distinctive cultural and artistic heritage. He proposed the idea to the Honpa Hongwanji mission of Hawaii, and, as they say, the rest is history. Let us first hear from Reverend Yoshiaki Fujitani. It was during Reverend Fujitani's tenure as Bishop of the Honpa Hongwanji mission of Hawaii that the Living Treasures of Hawaii program was instituted. Reverend Fujitani served with the U.S. Army's Military Intelligence Service during World War II. After the war, he continued a family tradition of becoming ordained as a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist minister. In 1975, Fujitani was elected Bishop of the statewide Honpa Hongwanji mission of Hawaii, the second Hawaii-born bishop in Hongwanji history. During his 12-year tenure, Fujitani broadened Hongwanji's reach, helped start Project Dana, as well as the Living Treasures of Hawaii program. After retiring as bishop, he became the director of the Buddhist Study Center near the UH at Manoa campus, president of the Hawaii Association of International Buddhists, and was a founding board member of the Samaritan Counseling Center of Hawaii. He is a recipient of the 2012 Wooden Cup with Chrysanthemum Crest from the government of Japan for his contribution to the Japanese American community in Hawaii, 2012 Ho'omenemene Award, and was designated a Living Treasure of Hawaii in 1994.
This program, Living Treasures, was definitely for those who are living, but they had to be in some kind of program that was important for the Hawaiian community. Program recognized those who were not recognized, like Charles Ken. He shared whatever he had with others, and they got credit, but he didn't. The Living Treasures program was formed especially to honor those who are not honored. So this program started in 1976, but it still continues. just as strong as ever. I would say to the younger generation to be themselves. They can represent no one except themselves, and so whatever they have to offer, then that's what you are. I was a member of the Samaritan Counseling Center. It was to help people with especially mental problems. From my point of view, I thought it was important because it gave the Buddhists a chance to give some counseling when most of the counselors were Christians. Maya Angelou, who said that if you receive something, you give it. If you learn something, you teach it. Well, that's the way life ought to be, you know, to share. In my life, I've gained so much from other people. I've lived a long life, you know. I'm 97. That's kind of old, yeah, 97. I received so much that I have to give back. That's the way life seems to be. That you receive, you give. I've lived because of the examples I've had.
Aloha kako. I am humbled today to be able to share a tiny bit of history and purpose of the Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii, a Shin Buddhist community in Hawaii. It was 132 years ago that the Reverend Soryu Kagahi stepped foot in Hawaii. Reverend Kagahi made the arduous journey to Hawaii to help alleviate the suffering and difficulties he heard that the Japanese immigrants, or Gannen Mono, were facing. He was followed by the Bishop Emyo Imamura, who was convinced that we needed to make positive contributions to all people's lives beyond the Japanese immigrant community. He emphasized Buddhist spirituality and education as the key to fostering people's hearts and minds, bettering livelihoods and society as a whole. He found enthusiastic support, including financial, in the person of Mary Elizabeth Mikahala Robinson Foster of today's famed Foster Botanical Gardens. She escorted Queen Liliuokalani to a special Buddhist service at the newly built temple on Fort Lane in May 1901, which made headlines around the world. For it was the first time that the Queen had attended in person an event of a predominantly Japanese organization. A mere 10 years later, the Hongwanji had outgrown the Fort Lane Temple, and a new grand temple, designed in the Gandharan architectural style of India, was built in the Upper Fort Street area, today known as Pali Highway. The interior of the temple was a combination of traditional East Asian elements of the altar and Western decor with pews and an organ. Bishop Emyo Imamura wanted to depict the international character of Buddhism through these forms. Still later, Bishop Yoshiaki Fujitani would emphasize the importance of community involvement, including interfaith partnerships for the betterment of our entire society. For the Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii, community has always been important since our beginning over 800 years ago. As a non-monastic Buddhist tradition, not only our lay members, but also our clergy are often married with families. Thus, there's always been a heavy emphasis on community or sangha. One of the most important teachings in Buddhism is interdependence, as related by the metaphor of Indra's net. A well-known Buddhist quote goes, quote, "As a net is made up of a series of knots, so everything in this world is connected by a series of knots. If anyone thinks that the mesh of a net is an independent, isolated thing, they are mistaken. It is called a net because it is made up of a series of connected meshes, and each mesh has its place and responsibilities in relation to the other meshes." End quote. In other words, everything and everyone is interrelated and interconnected. From this awareness arises a sense of mutual appreciation, respect, and caring for one another. Currently, the umbrella organization of the Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii is comprised of over 30 temples statewide, including a state headquarters office, the Buddhist Study Center, educational entities such as the Pacific Buddhist Academy and the Hongwanji Mission School. It is also composed of numerous affiliated organizations such as the Buddhist Women's Associations, Minister and Lay Associations, and youth organizations like the Junior YBA and Dharma schools, as well as several preschools, adult daycare centers, and temple facilities across the islands. These are home and host to religious services, events, and functions of the affiliates, but also serve as gathering places and meeting sites for the community. With the endowed mind of true and trusting, we live responding in gratitude to the Buddha's great compassion by reciting Namo Amida Butsu, the Buddha's name, and by trying to live our life according to the Dharma, or the very universal teachings of the Buddha. Our mission statement is to share the living teachings of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism so all beings may enjoy lives of harmony, peace, and gratitude. We are honored to be a part of the community of Hawaii and grateful to be able to work together with so many worthy community partners. In the tradition of the Japanese immigrants who came to Hawaii, in the tradition of the ministers who came to support the immigrants, and in our tradition of sharing with the entire community, we welcome anyone interested in Buddhism to visit our temples or participate in our services, programs, and events. Finally, it is our wish that this Living Treasures program will provide knowledge, beauty, and comfort to the entire community. In closing, allow me to share a quote of Shinran Shonin. "May there be peace in the world, and may the Buddha's teaching spread. Namo Amida Butsu," entrusting in the Buddha of immeasurable life and infinite light.
Since its establishment in 1976, more than 200 individuals have been designated as Living Treasures of Hawai'i. These honorees represent a wide range of industries and organizations, races, and religions. Living Treasures are artists and community activists, entertainers, scholars, writers, architects, historians, just to name a few. But what they all share in common is a passion, an impulse, a sense of duty, if you will, to perpetuate and share their expertise, their trade, and their knowledge with others. There are recognizable names among them, and there are also people who have never been in the spotlight, but only shown in the hearts of those who know them. Many of the living treasures have long passed on. Some continue to be treasured by Hawaii because it is in their nature to continue to work. Our living treasures have been honored for simply the gift they have and their generosity to share their knowledge. And they are not driven by a need to be recognized, but a need to feel useful. Every one of them has a story. Every one of them has contributed immensely to our island lifestyle and culture. Among them is Robert Cazimero. Robert's contributions to the preservation and perpetuation of modern Hawaiian music include his work as a singer, chanter, musician, composer, recording artist, dancer, choreographer, teacher, and as kumuhula of his Halau na Kamale o Lililehua. His career as a recording artist began as a member of the Sunday Manoa, and then with his younger brother, the late Roland Cazimero, as the Brothers Cazimero, and as a solo artist. He has received 25 Nahoku Hanohano Awards as a member of the Brothers Cazimero or as a solo artist. He and Roland were finalists for a Grammy Award in 2005. The Brothers Cazimero were inducted into the Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame in 2006. They received the Hawaii Academy of Recording Arts Lifetime Achievement Award in 2008. Robert was designated a Living Treasure of Hawai'i in 2020.
We've been in positions where both my brother and I have received lovely accolades, but this one was it was very personal for me. First of all, I love what I do. I mean, when I realized that I had this gift of a voice and how it made people feel, I was overwhelmed by it. Then how come I have this voice that makes people laugh and makes people cry and makes people believe that I'm singing just to you and I know exactly what you're feeling because I felt it too. I think that's the understanding and the idea of giving back and that it suddenly became such a priority in my life to do so. And that's just the singing part because, you know, I taught hula now. I'm in my 45th year of teaching. I feel a definite responsibility to and I know Hawaiians say this all the time, but it's the way we are. You are responsible for remembering and passing things on because this is what your ancestors did for you. This is what your grandparents, your parents, all of those people have worked all their lives to get you to where you are. I would just have to say that we are beholding to the kupuna, to the ancestors, to perpetuate what they've taught us, a way of life, a style that belongs specifically to us. I would say to these young kids that are or anyone that's trying to start off in a career, to give yourself a break. Everybody has had some kind of challenge, some kind of downfall. The lesson in it is how you are able to take that negative and make it a positive. If I could talk to that, oh God, if I could talk to that young guy who, you know, this is not a pity me kind of a thing, but I mean, you know, you're teased and you're told that you're stupid and that you're lucky if you can play music for the tourists, in my particular case, you know. If I could say what I've just said to this young Robert Cazimero, just don't worry. Take the knocks, learn from them, and keep going because seriously, I'm from Kalihi. Who would have thought that me, from Kalihi, would travel the world? And how would I get around it? Not with the military, and not necessarily because I'm a politician, because I sing. I mean, come on. And to say to that kid that, you know, you're gonna be beautiful someday. Okay, that's a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, I cannot even begin to tell you how grateful I am for my life. I was part of the Renaissance. Roland, myself, and Peter Moon, we were part of a group called the Sunday Manoa, and we were part of the Hawaiian Renaissance that started at the ending of the 60s and into the 70s, and continued for quite a while, for a bit into the 80s, when being Hawaiian suddenly became very important. And we worked really hard to make that prevalent and plausible for everyone, for our people to embrace and for people to embrace as a whole. I think the most important thing about that is because we want aspects of it to live on, and the only way we can do it is by teaching it to the younger generation. I really believe that our culture, our Hawaii, definitely has a place in this world, and that what we do, everybody has aloha spirit. I'm telling you that it's not just us. I heard this Japanese girl say this one time. They have an aloha spirit, but ours comes more from the mind. And she said for Hawaiians, it comes from the heart. In this world right now, there's a lot of mind stuff going on. There's not enough heart going on. So that's why everything that we've talked about in this short interview, that again I'm grateful for, will always, for me, start and end with the heart.
The Living Treasures of Hawai'i began as a humble honor. The very first ceremony was small and simple. A gathering in the office of the Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii headquarters, with Bishop Fujitani doing the honors, Paul Yamanaka, and the first honoree, Charles Ken. Over the years, it has evolved to recognize those who contribute to our society through service, all of which adds vibrancy to the fabric of our island's distinctive culture and artistic heritage. The program today has grown to become a prestigious honor extended to a select few. Interestingly, one reason why the Living Treasures of Hawai'i may have become such a distinguished award today is for its humbleness. Most often, exceptional individuals may be recognized amongst their peers within their fields. However, the Living Treasures of Hawai'i honors those remarkable people beyond their established organizations and shines a light on their contribution to the greater society of which we live. Living Treasures share from the heart, and they are honored for this. That is a noble thing to do. One other notable fact about the Living Treasures of Hawai'i program: it is not a fundraiser. The mission of the program is grounded in simply recognizing deserving people. Lillian Yajima is someone who has given selflessly to perpetuate the Japanese culture. Lillian is 100 years young and the founding member and former president of the Japanese Women's Society Foundation and founding member of the Wakabakai sorority at the University of Hawaii at Nainoa. Among her community affiliations are the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii, the Japan-America Society of Hawaii, the United Japanese Society of Hawaii, Shufu Society of Hawaii, Honolulu Fukuoka Kenjin Kai, and Kumamoto Kenjin Kai. Additionally, Yajima shares her knowledge of Japanese manju making, arts and crafts, and is very active and supportive of the Cherry Blossom Festival. She was designated a Living Treasure of Hawaii in 2016.
It was such an honor to be recognized, but that also added a big burden on my part because I started feeling guilty because I really believe in the Japanese culture, the beautiful parts of it. I wanted that not to get lost, you know. So I noticed more and more I was helping organizations that were Japanese. You know, when you recognize, you notice quite a few of the other recipients of that honor are not Japanese. So they might be thinking, what did I do for them? And so anyway, I am really committed to try and broaden my work, my community service work. When I became a member of the American Legion, I chose to be on the Child Welfare Committee, and I never dreamed that people could be so poor. I was called out to a home and the lady opened the fridge. Nothing was in there. So that's when I thought, there's so many people that are unfortunate and their poor children have to suffer for it. So I decided I'm going to commit my life work to helping the needy. I'm hoping that the next generation will be successful in whatever endeavors they choose to. My mother came across Governor William Penn's. He wrote something which was so profound that she kept that article, and it says, it's short version, we pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that you can do for a fellow creature, do it now. Don't defer, for you shall not pass this way again. Oh, I thought, my, that's really true. And so my mother pasted it on her mirror. I have one pasted on my mirror too. But isn't that a nice way of putting it? So I live by that. And that makes me happy. Maybe that's why I live this long already, because I'm happy with what I'm doing for others and makes them happy. Hawaii's culture is a mixture of so many different groups, and each group has something that's really good. I was chairman of the American Legion's consulate tour. In other words, that's how we raise money to help these people that can't afford food. People buy a ticket which allows them to go to the Japanese concert, stay there about an hour, then they go to the Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, Korean, and they end up at Washington Place. So each of us had a chance to show their particular things that they're noted for. And I noticed the Japanese have the most. Yeah, to me it's wonderful that we can pick the best of each culture and make it our own, you know. So we in Hawaii have the best chance of having a really nice, loving society.
This presentation was created to share with the community more about the Living Treasures of Hawaii program. The support for this has come from generous organizations who share in the values and mission behind the Living Treasures of Hawaii.
My grandfather, Masayuki Tokioka, immigrated to Hawaii when he was 13 years old. And as he grew older and became a businessman, he appreciated everything that he had gained from the islands and the people here. So he wanted to give back to the community. Our motto, always here to help, is something that we believe in strongly. It's an embodiment of what we want to be and do for our community. We always want to be there to help others. And it was through the success of our companies that we were able to establish the foundations. That success comes directly from our community. Our community has supported us in the past. They continue to support us now. We look to the foundation to remind the community and to thank the community about how important they are to us. We're founded on the belief of legacy and passing on to future generations. And the Living Treasure program does exactly that. It has some amazing people giving their knowledge forward to other generations.
In the 8th century writings of the Buddhist priest Saicho, he answers the question, quote, "What is the treasure of a nation?" End quote. His response, in part, was, quote, "The religious nature is a treasure, and the individual who possesses this nature is the treasure of the nation. When a person casts their light over a part of the country, one can speak of a treasure of the nation." End quote. Ningen Kokuho, commonly called Japan's living national treasures, came into existence in post-war Japan to preserve the country's culture, history, and tradition. Since the first recognition in 1955, these craftspeople chosen by the government, had a unique role in Japan's national identity. These are practitioners in the arts and performing arts, preservers of Japanese art and culture. While on the surface, the honor is a reflection of the value Japan holds for its traditional crafts, a deeper look reveals a recognition that tells as much about the people who chose them, the society in which they live, and the culture they want to see around them. The Living Treasures of Hawai'i is inspired by Ningen Kokuho. It shares the essence of honoring those who shape our island's identity and perpetuate our unique culture. Some of Hawaii's living treasures are recognized for their gifts beyond the traditional crafts. One of them is Puanani Burgess. Puanani has worked tirelessly to bring people with diverse interests together for the common good and to promote values-based economic development. She served as the executive director of the Waianae Coast Community Alternative Development Corporation and founded the Hawaii Community-Based Economic Development Agency within the state government, and helped organize the Legal Services for Children and the Pua Foundation to benefit Hawaiians. She has lectured at the United Nations on the place of humanism in global economy, has been an instructor in the University of Hawaii's Department of Urban and Regional Planning, and a poet and storyteller in the schools and public gatherings. She was designated a Living Treasure of Hawai'i in 2009.
The significance of being designated a living treasure is that it creates the opportunity for yourself and others to reflect upon how we got here. All the people who taught you, people who left space open for you to learn and be heard. So it's been an interesting moment in my life to do the calling back of all the people I owe so much to. So I was born in 1947, and it was a time of real great upheaval. The war had just finished a few years ago, and I think I carried the conflict in how I was named. So all of my names are Christabel, Yoshie, Puanani. My family name is Sonoda, and my married name is Burgess. You can hear the whole conflict that was going on in Hawaii at that time. And living in a family that was full of conflict in small and big ways, and living in a society that was full of conflict. People were so uncertain about how Hawaii was going to go forward. Is it going to be tourism? Is it going to be agriculture? What about the plantations? So much upheaval. And so, that being born in that time requires you to really figure out deeply who you are, where you come from, and what your values are. And so when I think about and I look at my names, I see the whole range of cultures and influences that were there and still are here in Hawaii right now. On my wall, I have a plaque that says Gasho, and right next to it is the Hawaiian flag. And for me, that represents really a wonderful way of looking at Hawaii, coming together in aloha from very different perspectives and yet making the same meaning. My advice for the next generation and the people who occupy it: find your gift. Find what your gift is and use your gift wisely and widely. So this young man told me what his gift was. He wasn't good at reading or math, but every time he went into the ocean, he could call the fish, and the fish would always come at his call, and he was always able to put food on his family's table. His gift is not necessarily what is seen or appreciated in our current systems of education, but that young man, he has the capacity for dignity and for sustainability for his family and his community because he understood early on, this is my gift. And he has become such a good practitioner of it. So know your gift, find it, and look for it with a big heart and apply it. It's my hope for you. O mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. And I translate pono as being hope. So the life of this land is perpetuated in hope. And I think we all have to remember that pono is not just coming with good intentions or creating justice and balance, but ultimately pono is about where does hope lie. And so we have to be willing to see where the hope lies in our families, in ourselves, in our community, and be able to be willing to share what that hope is and build upon what hope is for us.
In the early years of the Living Treasures of Hawaii program, the selection of the honorees was rather informal. Candidates were nominated, a selection committee met to discuss and agree or disagree. Over time, the committee began to focus more on the candidates and their gifts to our culture and our society. Today, the selection process follows stringent criteria. While other elements are considered, the key requirements are individuals who have demonstrated excellence and high standards of achievement, consistently shares one's knowledge and understanding with others in their particular field of endeavor, and through their continuous growth, learning, and sharing, makes significant contributions toward enhancing society, resulting in a more harmonious and compassionate society for all. One such person is Nainoa Thompson. Nainoa Thompson is best known as the first Hawaiian to practice the ancient art of wayfinding, or non-instrument navigation on long-distance ocean voyages since the 14th century. In 1980, he navigated the double-hulled voyaging canoe Hokulea from Hawaii to Tahiti and back. He was trained by Micronesian master navigator Mau Piailug and has since become one of the most recognizable names in voyaging. He has been a member of the Polynesian Voyaging Society since 1975 and serves as its current president. He has trained many others in the art of wayfinding and continues to instill in others an appreciation for Polynesian voyaging traditions and knowledge, and has become a fierce advocate for the protection of the ocean and this earth. He has received numerous community education and lifetime achievement awards. He was designated a Living Treasure of Hawaii in 2000.
The thing about the award that to me, it honors diversity. There's no boundaries between people. It values the things that are so important of kindness and compassion and caring. And in so, it really is a brave award. It's a courageous award. It's that pathway of kindness and compassion is the only pathway to peace. So that's why I feel such, again, just humbled and honored to to be even recognized. I mean, I don't look at myself as giving. I just don't see myself that way. I'm born in like the greatest family that had the greatest teachers, and so giving is not even a choice. It's just because of who you are, and that your parents and your grandparents set instructions for your life, and so all you need to do is just follow the path. I always wonder what it must be like in the heart and the mind of the young person today that looks at a future that's so uncertain and in a world that seems so broken. What I would try to suggest is that you're a part of the most extraordinary time and the most extraordinary human movement on earth ever. That there is a response to the trauma and the fear by people around the world, because I've been around the world. I've sailed around the world, and I've met thousands of strangers that are just doing whatever they can, whether it's in the worst of their communities, whether it's in the halls of the university, whether it's in a watershed or a coral reef. This movement that's taking place, it's not organized and it should never be. It's not institutionalized. But it's a movement of a whole new, which I'm defining as a culture for humanity, not based on race, not based on nationalism, not based on all the things that divide us, but what unites it. It's these values of kindness and compassion. It's happening. I think you need to understand, you need to make the choice of courage, but you can't have courage unless you understand fear. And so that they are like brothers and sisters. You need to hold them together and help you be able to understand how to navigate out of these storms that are happening interconnectedly through the whole planet right now. The mission at the Polynesian Voyaging Society, it's constantly evolving with the changing world. It's trying to remain relevant and meaningful. If you look at the 45 years of voyaging in Hokulea, we've been on 13 different deep sea voyages, and they've all had different purposes. And we built our future based on where we come from. We need to connect young people and help them find their way. We need navigators more than we need ever before on the planet. We need millions of them that are not sailing on voyaging canoes, but they're taking their own personal voyages to make a contribution to a better world. And every time someone has an act of kindness or compassion, no longer are they doing it for themselves. They're doing it for all of us. Whether it is in Greenland, whether it's in New York, whether it's in Africa. And our job today is to voyage to help young people prepare for the storms. I think they can. They can do what we can't do, and already the training is taking place, and already these young people are changing us for the better.
Distinguished, honorable, compassionate. It is how to describe a living treasure of Hawaii. The community is encouraged to submit nominations for the Living Treasures of Hawai'i honor. Nominations of these lights in our community are encouraged from all ethnic backgrounds and areas of service and talents. The committee is open to candidates from both individuals and organizations. Application forms are available on the Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii website, hongwanjihawaii.com. Or you can write or call the mission, and the information is on your screen. Application forms must be submitted by August 1st of every year. Sponsors and honorees are notified of the selection by early September, and the presentation of the awards takes place the following February. While the world in which we live moves faster and demands our attention because of technology and multitasking culture, it is often at the cost of meaningful human connection. The Living Treasures remind us to be awake, to be aware of who we are and what we do. It propels us to pause and ask ourselves, what are we like as people? And what do we want to be in the future? No matter what our gift, our position in life, our faith, our age, each of us can be a treasure within our circle of influence, to our community and to our world.